Another wild Monday in Tesla land and in the markets. Of course, you probably have seen what happened today. We had a giant drop up to 4%, I think 4.6% at the deepest point, at the deepest sell-off for Tesla. And this was in line with the market, a little bit more than in line. Nasdaq down 1.13%, but the Dow Jones 1.66% down, all because of a little bit of a tariff hiccup. Trump announced 15% flat. No one even understands anymore what's happening. I think it's not that important, but the markets freak out a little bit. European Union freaking out a little bit. The usual stuff. And of course, it's all hot air as always. And the market starts to understand this slowly. Still mini sell-offs like this, but we see recovery. I tweeted a little bit about it during the day. This was another fake sell-off. I think it's going to be like it has been every week of February so far, a sell-off below 400, going back to 410 or whatever. I don't think this is very different. And so far this has worked. Of course, we have to be a little cautious. I explained that I'm concerned about March. I'm concerned about this air gap I'm still expecting, even though we kind of have seen already bad things. Remember when I warned everyone of Q1 and the air gaps between back in December and robotaxi scaling, I said we might drop a lot, and we have dropped 25%. Don't forget that, 490 to under 400. So the news here is that it's kind of already bad, which means, is it going to be much worse in the next 4 weeks? Maybe, but maybe not. So I think this is all a setup to become very interesting to the upside for Tesla, but also in the greater market context for the entire market. We live in the age of AGI. It's all very scary. We have way different problems than dropping stock markets. I think tremendously, potentially very bad things are going to happen very soon, but not in the markets. So the flip side of these potentially very bad things that are coming, I will do some dedicated videos on the AGI problem. But the flip side of that is this stuff works. AGI works. Productivity is going through the roof. The Max 7 go through the roof in revenue and in profitability. So this is all complete fake when it comes to AGI bubbles. There is no bubble. The market tries to sell off since November. It's not working. So I do think we are setting up for a very big rally. March could be the last month where we have some problems. So it's a little premature to totally bet on the rally. I think a little bit more waiting, with a little bit more downside, a little bit more Tesla deflation, deflating balloon is in the cards, but the tsunami is coming. That is the macro situation. Now I want to take some time today to review the performance. As you know, we do this every week and see where we are at with Pioneer Alpha. And last week was actually very good. I'm very happy. We are down 0.17%, so basically nothing. We have a good alpha over Tesla, 1.18%. So Tesla down 1.35%. We are only down this much. So that was a function of the right play. You know, every week where we have an alpha of 1% or more is an absolute win, as you can do the math in your mind, right? Every week with 1%, that gives you over 50% return or alpha per year. So completely way beyond the top 1% of managers. Of course, we are not going to sustain that. We are not going to have every week 1%, and there will be negative weeks. But as I said, every week with 1% or more is a complete win, and we had a week like that. If you look year to date, that pays off these weeks. So we are up 6.31% over Tesla, down 2%, but this doesn't count if we are down or not. Tesla is down 8.43% since January 1st. We are only down 2%. Why is this important? I believe we have an inflection year for Tesla coming this year. And if we are up 6% over Tesla, it means if Tesla would go up 100%, we are basically up 112% to make 113% if you do very simple math. So generating constant alpha over Tesla gives you long-term vast alpha over Tesla when actually the good things happen, which we hope happen this year for many fundamental reasons. Month to date, let's look at this. Not so great. The month to date performance was dragged down. We are still better than Tesla, which is the key. Better than Tesla. And the reason for that is Robinhood. As you know, I took on a Robinhood position. We got slammed into the dust, into the dirt when Robinhood fell 10% after earnings. I don't regret anything. I'm happy I have this position. Robinhood is a total buy. Tesla is a bigger buy, and Robinhood is only a smart piece. But it's good to have a little bit of hedging in the portfolio. So that is a function of that. If you go 1 month, let's see here. Oh, complete destruction of Tesla performance. You can also click on other benchmarks. Go to pioneeralpha.org, and then you can play around with this whole thing. And you will see month to date it's looking good, 1 month looking good. You can also look at other comparisons. For example, TSLA, don't even get me started. That is the 2x Tesla ETF. Of course, total disaster. I'm not a fan of these things, by the way. And you have all the other metrics here. We are getting outperformed by the NASDAQ year to date a lot, because the NASDAQ is actually up, whereas Tesla is down. So compared to the NASDAQ, we have a negative alpha this year. But of course, if you click to 6 months, I mean, ridiculous, complete destruction. If you click 1 year, complete destruction. If you click 2 years, complete destruction. So the NASDAQ is not even a competitor for us, because we are strategic Tesla investors. We beat the NASDAQ so badly, 84% alpha. So I don't care about this little lagging behind. Of course, we lag behind if Tesla is going down, but I am extremely convinced we will beat the NASDAQ dramatically this year. So that's not my real benchmark. It's all about Tesla. We need to beat Tesla, and we are doing it. By the way, we have a new website up. Pioneer Alpha is now open to qualified investors. You know, I launched my Pioneer Bond video. There are some very important tweaks now that you will find very interesting. So everyone who's a qualified investor can now invest with me. Of course, I'm the main investor. Most of the capital is mine, but we are happy to have more investors in here. It's important that this is only open to qualified investors, but if you click on check your eligibility, you see we have now more regions open. Very important news: Canada, United Kingdom, European Union, Switzerland, and so on, and of course the US. I'm only allowed to talk about terms and everything for US investors, and I've decided not to do it anymore, because technically the other regions could argue if I explain terms to US investors, I also explain them implicitly to other investors, which is not something we're allowed to do outside the United States. But we are allowed to allow you guys in if you qualify. If you click on any of these, you have to basically fill out a bunch of stuff depending on your region and agree to a bunch of things that make you a qualified investor in your region. And then you're allowed to see the terms. And I can't show you anything here. Make sure, of course, you answer everything truthfully. These are regulatory things to make sure only professional or accredited or equivalent investors in each of these regions can see the actual terms. But I'm very excited about that. As you can imagine, I'm putting effectively the largest share, the liquid share of my capital into this for obvious reasons, because I make good money, as you can see, and not a promise for future returns. You know how it works, but my skin is in the game. And if you want to have some exposure at least, feel free to check out if you qualify, and you can message me, of course. So this is all very exciting. We are doing this. There will be a close, by the way, soon before April. We try to get the first bunch in, and there will be, it's not an open fund or anything. It's actually bonds, as I will explain, as you can see on the website. So we have these specific closes. But that's all the announcements here about that for now. You can go to pioneeralpha.org and check everything out. Now, what is my perspective on what's happening next? If we go here back to Tesla, if you look at year to date, you see we're down. Here it says 11%, in ours is only 8%. Depends how you count it. well, I explained my perspective, and I think it's a good sign today that I was right again today, that this was the bottom here around 394. So I believe this is going to bounce back. But I also point out we have to be a little cautious. I am short-term bearish. I think there might be a chance that we actually end up below 400 in a week coming in the next 4 weeks. But at the same time, you know that things are progressing very rapidly. You know that I was betting and had a video out yesterday that I think we will hit 400 robotaxis today. So far we haven't. Oh, but we are at 396 and we have a lot of hours to go. We have 11 hours to go today in California. So I think I'm right. I think we will exceed this. A lot of people say, Joe, what is wrong with you? The robotaxi tracker, don't believe this thing, blah, blah, blah. This thing is not that bad. First of all, thank you for whoever created the robotaxi tracker. We shouldn't bash it. This is the best we have. Obviously, not all of them are live. Obviously, some of them might be retired. Obviously, that's not the fleet size. Fleet size can be bigger or smaller because obviously it doesn't capture everything, and everything that's captured here is not necessarily live. But it's the best approximation we have. And we see now 8 unsupervised, up from 7 yesterday. We see 396. And I think we're making good progress. But this is all not the inflection point, as you can imagine. I'm just saying we are constantly progressing. And as I explained before, on the fundamentals, we're going up and up and up. Whereas on the tactical stock side, we will see some more deflating balloons coming, because the catalysts are missing, and the catalyst will be cyber cap deployment in April at more scale, at hundreds of cyber caps, hopefully very soon. And these cyber caps can only be deployed unsupervised because they don't have steering wheels. It's a very, very high suspense situation. This is the time where you need Pioneer Alpha. That's why I'm really on it right now. These are the potentially decisive moments and weeks where real things are happening, where the market is in suspense, but it's fake news, as I explained. I think the market is incredibly bullish from a fundamental perspective. It is incredibly scared right now, which is perfect. That's what you want. Incredibly bullish and everyone scared for no good reason. And Tesla is just following the market, also scared, and has a lack of substantial hard catalysts until April. Now, is it end of April? Probably more end of April, but it's getting just very interesting. So now is the time to really watch out what's happening, to really watch out for these first indications that this inflection is truly coming. Because when it's coming, we go to 500 in no time and probably to 600 in absolutely no time. Tesla is not a stock that incrementally goes up. Tesla is a stock that goes sideways and sideways forever, that then drops and drops and drops, then goes up a little bit, has a mini rally, then goes down again. And when it happens, you add 50 or 100% in super short periods of time with total FOMO. So you need to preempt this. But if you're too early or too wrong, you lose money. That's why this game is so exciting, because I do think this inflection point is coming very soon. But we have to be mentally prepared that there is some major delay suddenly. So that's the complicated game we have to play. That's why I have churn strategies and leap roll strategies. The option churn strategy is designed for making money when nothing happens. And it works like a charm. Today I'm a little underwater for the week. If it stays here, I'm probably going to win. Or no, I'm going to lose a little bit. It needs to be $3 up for me to win by Friday. Unless I reposition in between, or $2 up from here. Let's see what happens. But this is the situation. So I will keep you abreast. We have a lot of things coming in Pioneer Lands. We are actually launching 2 more themes on the channel in addition to Pioneer Alpha. Pioneer Alpha is all about stocks. It's all about investing. It's all about making alpha and generating an advantage over the market, mostly through Tesla, but through other AGI-themed stocks, from NVDA to Robinhood to MicroStrategy. and some others. Meta is also in the mix sometimes. The other theme we are launching, and that will be differently branded, by the way. It will have thumbnails that are more goldish, brownish for that theme. This one is bluish, Pioneer Alpha. The brownish one is Pioneer Lands. This is about how we construct the future civilization for us, the pioneers. For you guys, for everyone who wants to do and build a cool future. I did this branding visually because I want to make sure no one is disappointed. If you want to hear about stocks and options and alpha, sometimes people get pissed when I talk about the future of Pioneer Lands because they say I'm not interested. Whereas others say, Joe, I want to hear more about this stuff. So that's why we create the different colors. And there will be another theme, which will be politics in magenta, because that's a whole different topics. We will cover Germany and Europe a little bit, some tariffs, some Trump, and maybe some UK, because that's getting very interesting too. And I hope that will help everyone to orient and not to be too disappointed about me not covering these topics, because I will cover the topics, or being disappointed because you want to hear about Tesla and then I talk about the future of civilization and some people say, what the hell, I just want to make money. So you will see this is going to come this week, all of them. I will have a dedicated video explaining this. But of course, don't be afraid that I'm not covering Tesla and the market, because I will. Pioneer Alpha is one of the central themes, very important for me. And I hope you found this interesting, and see you tomorrow.